Today is the 26th day of January 2015, and I'm very pleased to have with us Sima and Sampa. Welcome, namaskar. These interviews that we take with older ashramites and other disciples and devotees are very special because there's, from many of them, a remembrance of the early days of the ashram, when they saw Mother, when they lived with her, when she interacted with all the disciples at one time. So we usually begin by asking when you came first to the ashram and how you came and about your parents. So can we begin with you, Sima?
Actually, I came here, in fact, I was carried here as a baby by my father. I came with my father and mother.
I see.
And maybe I was 10 or 11 months old, 1951.
51.
So that was the time I first came. And actually, I have to talk about my father more than myself.
Certainly.
Because he was the person who really showed us the way, and still going on, both of us. So he brought me first here, and I learned to walk here because I believe when I was a toddler, I couldn't walk. My father held one of my hands, my mother the other. And that's how I learned walking. And I believe it was Dilip Kumar Roy who was walking down the road. And he said, good in Bengali. Good, you learn to walk here, you learn to walk here.
How beautiful.
That
And
was-
Sampa?
I would say that I don't know when I was, like she said, even I was brought here by my parents, my mother, because we lost our mother at a very, I lost my mother at a very young age, at about when I was 3.5, 4.
Oh,
So I was coming here, I think, from 3 years, when I was 3 years. That makes, I was born, 57 born, so from 1960 I've been coming here, as she was. And
so you saw Mother before she went upstairs then in 1960. She was
Yeah,
still
yeah.
going to playground.
Yes.
Yeah,
No, we saw her actually at the lower balcony, darshan,
Yes,
morning darshan.
Balcony Street.
Yeah.
Yes,
that
yes,
was
I
the
did
morning
too.
darshan.
I came in 61, so
I don't know when she stopped giving that balcony darshan.
62.
62. So yeah, it could be that, because I can recall one incident at the balcony when I was just a little child there, and we used to stay in Parka Shabo, as you call it. I
Yes,
think
yes,
it's
we-
Park Guest
Parka
House.
Charbon,
Ah,
that's what we
it
called
was,
it.
now it's
It's
Park
still-
Guest House.
Yes.
So I was here, and we used to wait, and when Mother will come, we don't know. So we used to wait and wait. And suddenly everybody was...
You were in father's lap.
Yeah, I was like in my father's lap, and suddenly Mother came. And when she came, everybody was a little distracted. Not distracted, like, here and there. I shouted out and I said, Oi Toma, here, Mother is there. And I remember Mother coming straight towards that direction, and she kept smiling and smiling and smiling at me for a
I
very
see,
long
I
period
see.
of time.
Oh.
That is what I treasure, and I will treasure all through my life. That.
And the elders, they were shocked because they were all talking to one another and they were not ready at all.
Oh.
She was ready because her eyes were stuck, glued.
Because my father said, Mother's going to come, so where is she? Like, as a child, I'm looking up, okay, is she telling, what is it? Where is Mother, and when will she come? And I was the first one to spot. So that was one wonderful incident.
And do you remember the balcony darshan also?
Yes. All smiles. Actually, she would ponder a lot. You must have experienced too. Pondered a lot, looking at... It seemed that she's looking at everyone, even the last person at the end of that bend of the road.
Absolutely.
Everyone
Yes.
felt it. That
Yes.
there's no one who didn't feel
Mm.
have this kind of kind of a feeling. And so I thought she was looking at me. He thought she's looking at him. So it was like that, and it was a marvelous thing for us. It was a very joyful moment because, as I told you, immediately after that, after the balcony darshan, we used to run, come to flower room to collect some flowers, to get some
Right.
flowers to offer at the Samadhi, Sri Aurobindo Samadhi. So that was our, even she.
Yes.
And we didn't even know the significance of this flower. That way we were small.
We were allowed to place it on the samadhi
Samadhi
itself,
as we
so
pleased.
you just place it.
That was before all the designs
Yes,
began.
yes.
Yes.
And we used to put it, and we used to get the agarbatti from Vishwavanidhi. She was there. She was to, a mother called her Vishwavani
Vishwavani,
because
yes.
when she distributed the flowers, each flower had a meaning, Vani. So mother,
Message.
that was message,
Universal.
universal message.
That's the
So we used to get the agarbatti from her and the incense stick and the flowers we had. Then we would offer, do pranam. Our father used to take much longer time to do all that, and we used to get a little impatient because after this we have to go to the dining room for
We used
our
to be
breakfast.
hungry.
We used to feel hungry. So he used to take us to the dining room. We used to have our breakfast.
And actually, we were very closely associated with Jugol Kishore Mukherjee, Jugolda.
Very few
Knowledge.
people have talked about him.
Knowledge.
If you could
Knowledge.
say
Head
something about
knowledge.
Jugal, that would be
Yes,
nice.
Jugolda was actually, he belonged to, my father was village, those were the times. He was born in a small little village in Aura. And he used to go to a school which was very close to Jugolda's house, I think.
Oh,
So that's how,
Native of the same
native
place. I mean, same place.
And I think I've heard that we are distant, some kind of a distantly related. And Jugolda was a brilliant student,
Scholar.
a brilliant
Physics.
student, and he went to Presidency College with physics, and
Got a
he
gold
was a
medal.
gold medalist
Oh.
in those days, gold medalist. But unfortunately, he had didn't have the means to carry on much. But his mother became a widow, and I think they must have heard so much of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. So the mother comes along with the son here, and that's it. We, my sister and myself, we were very close to that family, Jugolda and the mother. Why? Because in those days, we children were not allowed to go for meditations and all that, no? So we were kept back. So Jugolda's mother used to keep
We
me.
used to call her granny.
Granny.
Oh.
She
Grandma,
was my
grandma.
Takuma,
Takuma.
grandmother.
So grandmother she was
She
to
was
us
to
here.
us. She used to keep me, and she used to teach me. She used to say, "Let us work as we pray." Those little
Prayers
prayers.
she learnt.
She used to take me to. She used to work in granary.
oh.
And I actually started working at the age of 3.5 or 4, you would say. Why? Because she would work in the granary and she would say, "Come pick up this, pick up that," those
These little stones. This is black.
Oh,
This is called stone.
stones. You just to separate them and all that. And after some time, she would say that now that what you call those big tubs are empty, so now you stand there and you recite one of Mother's prayers. So. And now everybody concentrate. Shampa is going to recite. Let us work as we pray for it.
Work is the
So,
body's best prayer to the divine. And everybody claps.
So that's how we grew up.
And what were you doing at that time, Sima?
Actually, I was with my father because I was a little older. No, she was too small to understand things, so I could roam about with my father. He would go most of the time. He would be in meditation, long hours meditation. So I would just sit beside him, or be taken to the library or something, to expose me to all these the bigger world. I mean, wider
Yes.
world. But then come back again to Jugolda's mother.
Ah,
So we would just come, meet together, and then from there we used to go to dining room for our lunch at 11:15.
Now, how much did you see Mother during this
Actually,
time?
yes, actually, in between, I should say, we lost our mother. She died very young. So,
62.
62. So, till 61, we had that balcony darshan. So, after that, what happened was my mother was very sickly. So, my father would stay in Golconda when he would come alone. So, I think it was in sometime in 1962, October or like that, I think. He had a very bad dream in Golconda.
Oh,
He rushed back home. Actually, we used to communicate through Nolinida. So,
I see.
whatever we had to do, in fact, we used to come to the ashram. Firstly, we had to take permission from the mother whether to come or not.
because
So, my
yeah.
father always used to take the permission through Nolinida, write a letter, and our Divine Mother would send a blessing.
Say you may come.
You may come.
Okay.
Satya Brahma may come.
My father's name
With
is
family.
Satya
Satya
Brahma.
Brahma.
May come.
Now, did he see Nalini before he left after the dream?
No, he didn't see Nolini. Actually, he had a very bad dream. Then, with that, he saw as if my mother is not well. So that was the feeling. In the middle of the night, he called out so badly that the neighboring, all those who were the inmates there, they woke up. They gave him some water to drink. He was he was sweating badly. He was not feeling well. Then he rushed home.
Because he got a telegram.
He got a
also.
telegram also. So
Same.
both coincided. The telegram and his feeling, very sick there. So he went back home, saw my mother was very sick. Then she passed away. But my mother's passing away is something also very significant, because she was a rheumatic heart patient. So naturally she had a very weak heart. So when she was sick, about 3 days or so he was there. And that mother's realization photograph, that photograph with the realization
Yes.
tree,
Yes.
we had it in our house. So my mother would point out at that photograph and wanted the others to put it near her head.
Always.
So always, whenever they shifted her, the photograph would be placed behind her. She was so conscious. She was so ill, but she was conscious of this. And before breathing her last thrice, she said "Ma, Ma, Ma, Ma," thrice. And then that was the last. And a telegram was sent. My father sent a telegram. The mother writes in the telegram, "Her soul is with me."
Mother said that
Yes.
if one remembers her
Yeah,
at the last.
Yes.
Yes.
Her soul is with me.
Yes.
Blessings. So that was my solace for my father.
Now, you were here during that time,
I
or
was
you were
not.
there?
I was there
Both
with
of
my
you?
with my
Yes,
maternal
we were with
uncles,
her
Was it-
grand-
oh,
because she
okay.
was weak. She couldn't come anymore.
And you couldn't come,
No,
well,
no, so
there
obviously,
was,
with
he
your
was
father,
small.
he lived in
Yeah.
Golconda.
Yes, so there was that, a lot of break in between.
So there was a little break. in
60s, a little, somewhere there was, after passing away a few years, there was a bit of a break.
2,
because-
3, not more than that, because in 1965 I went in February 25th is my birthday. So 21st we had the mother's balcony. That time I think she had gone up to the terrace.
Yes.
And then I had to go to the room, the mother's room, for special darshan. So the cards that we have brought,
So, sometime-
1965 onwards, till
1962.
1972.
Right?
Let us see some of those.
Till
Cards.
this is the first one. This one written. You can give it to him. Please.
Now, you open and
No.
we'll hold it out.
They're very old. This is the 65. This is how we used to get it.
You've kept them so nicely.
Sure,
This is the
sure.
February darshan card with mother's signature. February, Mother's birthday, and her signature.
And this is my sister's birthday, 25th.
And this is Sima's birthday with this beautiful card from Mother. And Mother's always put the date, Bon Fête. And then this is something that I used to receive these also. Mother would put something either
Yes.
that
Yeah,
she
yeah.
wrote or
Yeah.
Sri
She wrote.
Aurobindo wrote. And this is very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Comes 66 and all
They
this.
come 66 serially. My sister has put them all serially
Wonderful.
with the
So
blessings.
blessing packet and all. And look at how beautiful this card is. And inside with the blessing packet to Sima with blessings, Mother.
Sometimes she used to write
Sometimes
J-double-E,
she used to change them.
J-double-E, and sometimes J-I.
We didn't know
Ah.
why.
So we didn't know why.
We
I
didn't know
see.
why.
Ah,
There's a change.
Give it to me.
as we're looking at these, tell us a bit how it was to go to Mother
Actually,
on your
see-
birthday.
Yeah. Actually, she would allow the others to do pranam on her like knees or something, but I just wouldn't see anything. My focus was on her lotus feet, you know. She used to like her lotus feet. I have to put my head down there, so my concentration was there at a lot. But she would actually she used to radiate with that white light. She always had that white. That was for sure. And the room would be, one would imagine that the room is so big. That is one thing. Actually, the room was so small. It was like a big kingdom, a big
This was
palace.
my
or something.
experience also.
I felt
So
so
large.
sad later on that mother
Mother used to stay in
in
such a small room.
How?
We used to feel so sad. We felt like crying,
Oh my
you know.
God.
And the room would be magnified. And there would be light all the time, you know, with her. And it was like that. My focus is on her lotus feet. And, you know, and she would keep her head. And she used to be so patient with us. Really. For so long, my head pressed upon her lotus feet, and so many other people
Are still
waiting, still waiting for their turn. But she would never, ever say, now the time is up. No. And because behind me would be my father, because my father would hold on to me like this, lest something, you know, happens. So, because I'm
He was
before
very
the mother,
cautious, though.
my mother, divine mother. So cautious my father used to be, that if I do something here or there, you know, and we were always treated like children by our father, you know, like little ones. And behind her would be, you just ask
Couldn't-
her experience.
Couldn't, and when I used to be there, I used to wait. I would feel I should run up to her because she was sort of, you know, come. Come.
And she was so
And
tiny.
I would just rush towards her, and after that, I don't know, being such a small child, I would feel, I don't know, I wouldn't behave like a child. It was not like a child. Like a child, I would rush up to her, but then, you know, fall at her feet. Fall at her feet. And I remember the last darshan I had of the mother. There used to be flowers that used to be given to all of us. all of us. So there used to be somebody, I don't know, Champak Lalji or somebody would offer the flower and that flower would be given. And the last darshan, we didn't know this would be the last. Mother was groping for a special flower. She said no. She was groping for a particular flower and she
For
gave...
you.
For
For
her.
you on your birthday, yes.
No. Not on her birthday,
No.
my
It was her
birthday.
birthday, but we would accompany her.
Oh,
All of us would come.
I
all of us.
see.
So-
She
Oh,
would
how
allow us. The
wonderful,
whole
how
family would
wonderful,
be.
huh?
And
Because
So father and both of you.
yeah.
And she was groping, she was searching for something. And then she picked up one rose, the color of which I will not be able to express. It's a kind of a red, which is very rich red with the blackish red, velvety. I have not been able to understand I don't know what does it mean actually. But I was so happy that after that, I came down and my father said, "Let me see the rose." I said, "No." And I was running straight to the samadhi with that rose. I remember that. That was the last.
And the others were telling me, "Show me, child, show me what the
I said,
mother."
"No."
She said, "No, it's mine. I will not give it
No,
to
it's so
anybody."
special because everybody got it from him, Champak Lalji or something, but I got it straight from her because she was searching for it and she gave me one. I felt like, and so like mother, we've been always been guided by her actually, because we didn't have our own mother. I remember when my mother passed away, my uncle said, "Now that your mother, she's in one room and we are in the other room." My mother just called us and she hugged us, and then we were in the other room, and then she passes away. Then my uncle says, "What will happen to you? Your mother is no more." Then she was
I was
11. Then
11.
11. Then she said, "What's there if she's gone? My mother is there.
At 11 years
My
old.
mother is there." Showing,
See
pointing
that
out at the
realization
photograph.
at 11.
My mother is there. So that's how we grew up.
But my father's,
My father's search was a very difficult one, and we owe everything to him. His was very difficult because he was a spiritual seeker. His background was a typical Bengali Brahmin family,
Mm-hmm.
orthodox, religious, but he was seeking for spirituality right from his childhood. Like his uncle was a spiritual person, so he used to recite the Gita at night and place the Gita under his pillow before he would go to sleep. So that's how he grew up. So after his education, he comes to Calcutta to study, to do his graduation. At that point of time, we had Sri Ramakrishna Institute of Culture. There used to be some lectures delivered by scholars. So he used to go there as a student, and he used to, spread out the maths and other things.
like
Mm-hmm.
this.
And he used to listen to these lectures. One of the scholars asked him, "Have you read Sri Aurobindo?" That was the time when Sri Aurobindo, it was I think in 1936
36 or
around
so.
then. "Have you
36,
read
yes.
Sri Aurobindo?" He said no. He just said, "Read Sri Aurobindo." He came back with that vibration, "Read Sri Aurobindo." Then he started reading Sri Aurobindo. Then what happened was that, I hope you know, in Calcutta there is a street called College Street, where you have the university, the best colleges, and both sides are lined up with only books and books and books. So he was walking down that, and in those days they used to have these framed, some very good writings, some good sayings and writings framed up. In one of those framed writings, he finds this beautiful thing written in Bengali, which he said, "Now, what is this?" The frame has broken, but the writing is still there. It says, with Ma written
See, in the middle.
and it says that why are you worrying? if mother is by your side, what is there to worry? Because she has taken the
All your
burden,
responsibility.
all our responsibility.
See,
And
Ma
this was in the
middle.
window of a bookstore.
No, this
No,
was just
no,
on the
just a
footpath.
footpath.
On the
They're
footpath.
Yeah, they're
Footpath.
selling all these
All
things.
these things on
He
the
says,
footpath.
who is this mother who has taken our
Respond
responsibility?
this burden of the universe.
Who then is this mother? Who is this universal mother? This mother must
It's such
be
a simple,
someone, such a simple
thing.
one.
Ma
in the middle with a bridge, with the
Ma
water.
is the bridge.
And see, if mother is by your side, what is there to worry? Because she has taken up all her responsibilities. So then comes the search. Who is this mother? Then,
Because he was born, we must tell him, he was born 8th January 1916.
16.
Next year he will be 100 years old. Centenary year.
Right.
So he was very young then, probably he was 18, 19 when he saw this little thing on the roadside.
and so then comes Pondicherry. Then he comes here, says, yes, I have found my mother.
And what year?
1945.
He gets the combined darshan of the mother and Shiva.
And Sri Aurobindo.
And when he first saw him, both of them, he could only see the golden light in Sri Aurobindo. Even when before his turn could come, he could see golden on one side and white on the other.
You couldn't see their faces, like it was also golden and also dazzling white.
And he says, I still remember, he said, I was just crying,
My
tears rolling down, and my eyes were
was
blurred.
so blurred, I couldn't even see them properly. I could see the golden and the white,
Pure white.
light.
And he says that I just had to clean myself. I had to just rub off my tears because I couldn't check my emotion. And then, of course, he was at their feet. So that was his first darshan of the mother and Shiva.
I think it was on 24th April, probably.
And he had many darshans then.
Yeah.
eh?
After
Of-
that, he
of
came,
Sri
consequently
Aurobindo.
came one after another. He got married in between, then we were born, then he brought us, then my mother expired. So all this had a lot of, and then in 1946, I would have to show you the book, of the mothers.
Which was signed by him.
Actually,
It was
signed
very
by-
badly mutilated and
badly this thing. So Barbie somehow
Oh, Bobby.
restored it.
restored it.
Said you have to
It
keep
was
it like
with
this.
him all through his,
all
Sri
through.
Aurobindo's signature.
He, it was in the last minute. It was in his ICU. He had gone into
ICU,
the
it was
ICU with
here.
this. He asked the doctor. He was very conscious.
He said, I have the mother in my chest. Can I keep it with me?
So he says, signed by Sri Aurobindo, by my master. Can I keep it? So the
Signed by
doctor
my
said yes,
master.
because the doctor knew he's not going to
Yeah.
stay anymore. So he says, okay. And there's another book by.
Yeah, this
the
we
letters
somehow
of- It was actually very badly.
badly, not properly, this thing.
But this also is signed by Sri Aurobindo.
This was, what book is this?
This is
Letters on yoga.
Letters on Yoga.
So these are the.
Things. And these are the cards we still have.
And
them.
one thing you must notice, she used to write SIMA, and at some
SEEMA.
places ESEEM.
Double EMA here.
Yes,
Yes.
So we didn't know what the significance was.
she kept changing.
And I think you should describe your last
Yeah.
this thing. Give it to him.
68, this is.
68. Is this the last card you received? No.
No.
You received after that.
72, 73
72,
also.
73, yes.
Because that time she couldn't write.
She-
She couldn't write.
This is 72.
This is 72 Sri Aurobindo centenary year.
But Mother has written here,
Yeah.
and she's written here.
Yes.
These were copies that were made, the one fet and blessings, but Mother actually wrote in her own hand the date and to Sima. I have cards like this also, so I know how they prepared the cards.
I think it's 71 most probably.
In the night, as in the day, be always with me. In sleep, as in waking, let me feel in me always the reality of your presence. Let it sustain and make to grow in me youth, truth, consciousness, and bliss, constantly and at all times. Sri Aurobindo. I'm glad that Barbie helped you with that.
Yes.
Because she's wonderful.
She's
The last, I think, 72.
wonderful. I don't have any more. I don't know where.
Because the last time that I saw her,
You should ask.
she, in a sonorous voice, she called out to me, Seema, Seema. I still remember so many times she called out, and I just emerged from, as if from dark to light, darkness to light. It was like that, and she was also dazzlingly white, so pure. And she called out my name. When the others were still waiting, I said, oh, any more?
No.
No, it's folded.
Yeah.
So that was the last, I think, 1972 February, because she was gradually becoming less available to
Yes,
us.
Yes.
Very, and that was the time. Then I think the last darshana was there in 73 February, when she was. The others were telling Akka was there. That is Vasudaben was constantly telling the others not to kneel down and do pranam, because mother is finding it very difficult
to
because
touch, because she would touch our this thing, no, or here she
bless
would
us on our
here.
here. So, but what happened? The others were doing it on her knees, but I couldn't do it on her knees. I just fell as usual at her feet, as usual. So I did it, and my dear mother, my sweet mother, she had to bend so low, but nobody even pulled me up. For the others, they was telling them, no, don't do pranam like this. Do it like this. Do it like. But I was allowed to do it there at her feet. So she bent so low, and for such a long time, I think I can still remember the pressure she put on my head. The last that she did.
She would always put a pressure. No?
She put a lot of pressure
It would
on
be
my
here,
head.
and then with the finger she would
She would
slide
just
it.
slide it down.
Ah.
Yeah. To the middle of the head. That used to be
Slide it.
on the birthdays and all the time.
Now, did you see Mother at any other times? Could you go see her, or did you write to her?
No,
No,
have
we-
never, neither
we've-
my father nor we have corresponded with her ever.
But she would constantly help us. We would constantly feel her presence whenever, whichever way possible. We just didn't personally meet her, but we had to contact Nolinida for whatever we wanted and through him, my father would get all the or whatever he wanted, and birthdays would be very important. And Darshan Day means 21st February only because we were all students, we were not allowed, and we were studying in a convent school, so they wouldn't allow us. We still remember that when we used to come on 21st February darshans, we had to give a special leave letter to our principal, and once or twice I think we had to be readmitted.
I had to be readmitted.
I see.
Because there was a break in our academic session.
Yeah.
But still we would come. Nothing would stop us from coming
In fact,
So-
we wouldn't go anywhere. I mean,
Yes,
our
that is-
holidays were
here.
always.
To be here, yes.
And people would ask us, you have to have been to this place, that place, this place. We said, no, we've only been to Pondicherry. They were so surprised that we haven't visited. Only by sheer luck, like my subject was geography, I had to go out for excursions for my subject. So, but my little sister, poor thing, she has
I don't
not seen the
regret.
world.
I've
But-
seen my world, my mother's, through my mother.
Yes, you've
That's
seen the
it.
world.
I think
from
only
mother.
one trip she made to Darjeeling. That was our world.
Well, we're going to take a little break,